Hey, I'm Mike.
Hey, I'm Chris.
This is Mike and Chris Reloaded.
Hey,
Season 3.
Season 3.
Episode 2. Number 2.
It's almost like Star Wars.
Star Wars. We should do a crawl now. You should type out a crawl when you when you post the podcast tomorrow.
Sorry, Lucas. Oh,
Yeah.
wait, Disney now. Sorry.
Disney.
Sorry,
yeah.
Disney.
No. But this week we're going to be talking about some glow.
Glow sticks.
Glow worms. My kids had a glow worm.
Glow bugs.
Glow. Gorgeous ladies of wrestling.
Oh, wrestling. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
gorgeous.
Have we ever even talked about wrestling on the show?
We have not. And wrestling is a pretty lucrative podcast thing.
It is.
Lots of people talk about wrestling.
It is. Well, this time we're going to talk about the gorgeous ladies of wrestling, but in more of a kind of a, I guess, the Netflix series and more of an evolution stage on this thing.
Yeah, this, we put lots of time and effort into this.
10 episodes.
Yeah, 10 episodes. We actually might be a short podcast because we've been having some issues, so we didn't get to research as much as we usually do, and we made a quick decision on what we were going to do this week.
And plus, I feel like crap.
Yeah, Chris is dying, so say your prayers, get on his good side, get in his will. He's passing a kidney stone. It's like giving birth for a guy.
But anyway, the Netflix series, which is 10 episodes, just released a couple weeks ago, stars Alison Brie, Mark Maron, Betty Gilpin, was three main people. Mark Maron plays the director of the show.
And Chris Lau, I like him. He played Bash.
Oh, Bash. He's the producer.
The producer, the rich boy.
Yeah, but
rich boy.
It's funny. This show is actually based in the 80s. It takes place in 1986, which actually when the original Glow series, if anyone remembers that, started. It ran from 86 to 1990, so about 4 seasons, which is pretty decent for, something that wasn't, heard of, I guess, back then. Because, when you think of wrestling back in the 80s, you think of Hogan and Andre the Giant, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, all the guys and stuff, and women were just more known as valets. They weren't really wrestlers. So, but
in case you don't know what a valet is, that means they just walk the man to the stage, to the apron.
Pretty much so. But the Glow series, it's really neat. It gives a kind of a little insight of how this thing begins, the storylines behind it. It is very mature, so if you have kids or whatever.
Yeah, now I know why Chris wanted me to watch it. I make fun of him. Everything he tells me to watch has got some kind of nudity in it.
It does have a little bit of nudity in it, which is funny because Alison Brie plays Ruth Wilder. She's pretty much the main star of the show. But it's in the show, she looks like she's from the 80s. She did a really good job, but in real life, if you've ever seen her, she's actually pretty hot.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of her. They don't look anything alike.
Yeah, it's pretty funny, but it's essentially, like I said, it's 10 episodes. They bring this guy in who wants to create a show. The producer, the Bash guy, wants to create a show for women wrestlers because he's just grew up basically like some of us, just watching wrestling as a kid and just all excited. But he wanted to get the women involved.
Right.
He's real flamboyant and outgoing and stuff like that. So he hires just basically a director who created a few movies and stuff, little, I guess, independent movies.
Yeah, he's like a massive B movie maker.
Yeah, so he hires this guy to come in here and basically direct a wrestling show. But the women will actually be wrestling.
Yeah, and they suck to start at.
There's a few cameos in there, actual wrestler cameos. Johnny Mundo is his name now, but it was John Morrison in WWE. Carlito and Brodus Clay. They played the girl's brother.
Yep.
The Mighty Lumberjacksons.
Carlito got big.
Yeah, he's a pretty big guy.
Steroids.
Alex Riley, he was in there. He played one wrestler also.
Who's Alex Riley?
He was on WWE for a while. He was Miz's little protege for a long time, and then he was an announcer in WWE for a long time.
I gotcha.
Because he hurt himself, but yeah, it's very drama based. A lot of personal stuff happen between some of the girls and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, it basically starts off where Alison Brie, or Ruth Wilder is her character's name. She bangs her best friend's husband.
mm-hmm.
So I mean, that's basically the first episode is basically a setup for her failures as an actress, trying to get actress roles and having sex with her best friend's husband.
Yeah, and she's like one of those like struggling actresses trying to get roles and stuff like that. And her best friend actually was on a soap opera, so she had a good role for a while. And then she ended up retiring and or quitting to have a baby and this and that with, her husband at the time. And but it creates a little animosity, obviously, between the two in real life in the
Right.
show. And later on, when the director Sam sees Betty or Debbie, who's Betty Gilpin is her name, but Debbie Egan is the woman he wants her to be his star. That's the one that had the baby and her husband cheated on her with Ruth. But well, obviously you get someone in there that had your husband cheated on you, you don't want to be around them. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Yep.
So they end up coming to terms with a lot of stuff, and come to find out, it's like they're better off because one's going to play an enemy in the ring, the other's going to play the good guy, which I think Debbie plays the Miss America or whatever she is, or
Yeah, Liberty Bell.
Liberty Bell, yeah. And then Ruth ends up playing like some Russian chick or whatever.
Right.
So, and back then in the '80s, you got the end of the Cold War and stuff like that, and that's when the Berlin Wall was fixing to come down, all that stuff. So
and Reagan was president.
So Russia was a big thing back then. It's you get Russia attacking the U.S. It's you're pretty hated. And then but it creates a good storylines in the show. It's directed well. I think the show's directed extremely well.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And it gives you a lot of insight of like how some of the wrestlers kind of come about. This is just actually a creation of a show too. And you got to think the WWE or WWF back then is already established. It's already going on. You already have Hogan, who's like the big draw back then already. So it's. But yeah, I thought it was really good. I really liked it. They've already greenlit a second season, as far as I know. I hope the second season is just as good as the first one. I mean, I thought, like I said, I thought it was really good.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, just to recap what the show's about, because we're gonna spoil this. We got a half hour to fill.
I tried not to spoil too much.
We gotta spoil it. We got a half hour to fill, or at least 15 minutes. I want to kill your time. So basically, the premise is you got this girl, Ruth Wilder. She's we said she's a struggling actress. Basically, she gets told by the casting director.
Yeah.
I believe that's casting director that is bringing her in for auditions. That the companies want something new and different, so they bring her in as a new and different just to show that that's not what they want.
Yeah.
So they don't want her. So basically, she's told she's not going to get a job. So this guy, San Sylvia, calls the casting director and tells him he needs every unusual girl or any girl that you got that's not normal and doesn't follow the normal rules to show up to this thing. And basically, all these women show up and they say it's going to be about wrestling, and you're going to have to wrestle. And says, so if you're not happy with that, get the fuck out. So
and he does say that.
Yeah, he does say that. So basically, three-quarters of the room gets up, walks out, and the last 12 women.
There's more than that, but he eliminated them as they went.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
He eliminated down to 12.
Yeah, you're right. He eliminated it all the way down to 12 women, and basically, they pit the whole show on Ruth Wilder and Debbie Egan's feud.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole show is based on their feud, and they even direct the show based on their feud.
Well, when there's that scene where she finds out that she slept with her husband when she's in the ring, and she comes in and finds her.
Yeah.
And Sam ends up he gets this vision of them wrestling each other.
Yeah.
It was just so real to him like that. And that's when he first saw that that Debbie Egan, her that as his star or whatever.
Yeah. Well, because Debbie Egan, she was on soap operas previously, so that they're pitting the show at her star power.
Yeah.
Because she was on a soap opera. She got written off the soap opera, I believe is what happened. They put her in a coma or something.
Yeah, and then she had a facelift.
Yeah, so. And then she had a facelift, and they recasted it. But supposedly her husband makes her be a stay-at-home mom, and doesn't want her out doing acting jobs because I don't know if he's independently wealthy or just like middle class or.
I really don't know what he does. I know he works at some sort of office, somewhere.
Yeah, he does.
He does
It
make
doesn't
good
go
money.
into it.
But but he wanted her to be at home, and I guess he was the one. If you catch at the end of the show, where he made the comment to her about, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
or
this
something.
is a joke.
Yeah, this is a joke. And then she said, "You said the exact same thing about my soap opera," and that's when I quit.
Yeah.
So I guess she kind of realized he's just trying to be controlling or something.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and these ladies, none of them have wrestled except for the one girl, which I can't remember if it was Polynesian or Samoa. What was her name? It drives me crazy.
They called her Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu, yeah.
Was her name. That was her stage name or whatever. So,
yeah.
But she was the one that had the wrestling background where her dad was a wrestler and her brothers were wrestlers. And that's where her brothers were played by Carlito and Brodus Clay.
Right.
And, now, I don't think her dad was actually a real wrestler in real life. I mean, he was a big guy.
Yeah, he was massive, man.
But in the show, he was like a world legendary wrestler or whatever. So,
right.
So she comes from a legacy background, basically.
So, I mean, this show kind of, like it keeps following these people, and it's just like their development, basically, as wrestlers. And it's got terrible story. Not the show, but the wrestling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wrestling, it's got terrible, was it slapstick comedy type wrestling?
Mm-hmm. Pretty much just what wrestling is nowadays. So,
yeah.
I mean, you can get good storylines and this and that. And that's what this is about. Of course, again, this is the 80s. So, back then it was probably like, well, this is the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, when I watched G.L.O.W. when I was younger, it was pretty much for panty shots and gratuitous, butt cam close ups to their butts and stuff like that. I mean, that's what the show was based on. I mean, the story was terrible, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. Now the interior story of the actual show itself is actually really good.
Yes.
Because it develops. There's a lot of different characters in the show that have different issues and different things happen to them. So there's a lot of character development in the show itself between different people. Even Ruth, who's supposed to be the main person, she actually things happen to her later on where it's actually more serious to her, and then you find out about Sam's daughter and all this stuff. And everything else.
Sam's got a kid.
Yeah, so there's a lot more stuff.
Who he tries to have sex with.
Yeah, there's a lot more stuff happening in there, as well as just the creation of the G.L.O.W. wrestling organization. So,
I mean, the producer Bash, he runs out of money. His parents cut him off, so they don't have the funding to do the show anymore. Although they do have a sponsor now, which is some patio furniture company. Yeah. So they got a sponsor and they got a network willing to air them, but they have no venue. So kind of the whole first season builds up to this finale where they're doing car washes. They're trying to do illegal fundraisers, telling them that they're all on coke, crack, crack or heroin. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, the Nancy Reagan Just Say No foundation.
Yeah, they're like donate because and all the women wrestlers are getting up there saying, "I'm addicted to crack real bad."
Yeah, but it was Ruth that actually pulled him through, and in the end, you kind of see Ruth kind of coming into her own. At first she was kind of just this lost person trying to find a job in acting, and then towards the end, she kind of seems like she's almost running the show herself.
Yeah, but this show, it is important because it paved the way for women wrestlers today, I think.
It did, because back then, like I said, women wrestlers weren't a thing. It wasn't a thing at all.
Yeah, they're like midget wrestling is what they considered it. And they even reference that into
And now, even in the WWE, or in TNA or anything else, you see some of these women wrestlers that are just as good, if not better, than some of these big name wrestlers you have.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Just they're phenomenal athletes now. I mean, just the way they are, and they're just smoking hot too. So, but it did. This show actually, even though it ran the original, not this Netflix series, but the original Glow itself, ran for like 4 seasons, and then it tried to come back for like another couple of seasons in the early 2000s. But and I think that was just more of a showcase of, like you said, TNA, and not the wrestling organization either.
Yeah,
but
tits and ass.
but yeah, and nowadays I think it's more of a respect thing for women, even though they do dress really scantily or whatever, and they dress nice, provocative. Yeah, there you go. But it is more of a respect thing for some of these things that some of these women can do.
I mean, you had G.L.O.W, which brought women in the front light, but then you had wrestlers like China who showed the complete. I believe China I would say I would recognize her as the first female wrestler that paved the way for what they have now, where women are kind of like
I would
based.
probably agree with you. That or Alundra Blaze was actually really good.
Yes, she was good too.
She paved the way, but you're right. China was probably one of the more
because they're the one she pitted a lot of where she was wrestling a lot of men.
Yeah, she was the first woman to ever hold the Intercontinental belt in the WWE.
Yeah, so I mean, I think she set a tone. I mean, G.L.O.W is important, but China was equally as important as G.L.O.W, I believe.
Yeah, I think
didn't she pass?
She passed away last year.
Yeah.
So,
Rip China.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree with you. I think she's kind of set the way as far as women as wrestlers and not just ballets or just comical shows or whatever.
Right.
And after that, that's when you started seeing people like Lita and what's
I can't think of her name, but I think the little Asian chick. What's her name?
Gail Kim.
Yeah, Gail Kim.
Yeah, she was really big in Japan.
Yeah, she's a huge. I think she's an extremely talented wrestler.
Gail Kim, Lita was. She did those moonsaults off the top rope.
Yep.
Well, then you got I'm trying to think of her name, Trish Stratus.
Trish Stratus,
who was actually originally just a model who actually became super popular in WWE and learned to wrestle pretty good.
Right. Then you have what's her name? The relatives of the Bret Hart.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of her name.
She's actually married to Tyson Kidd.
Yeah, and she's
Jim Neidhart's daughter.
Yeah, Jim Neidhart's daughter. Yeah, she's a pretty good wrestler too.
Yeah, a lot of these women you see in there are legacy wrestlers now.
Yeah.
Ric Flair's daughter's in there.
Oh really? I've given up wrestling, so.
Yeah, Ric Flair. She's like been champion a couple times.
Oh, that's cool.
And I know Hogan's daughter's trying to make an impact in there too. But I don't think she's doing very good. But just because you're a legacy doesn't mean you're good. So.
Right. She had a singing career too. Remember that?
Yes.
I'm surprised you remembered it. I barely remembered it.
Yeah. She tried anyway.
Yeah.
But show's great. I'd give it a watch. If you like, I guess a lot of people compare it to The Orange is the New Black. It's similar style, I guess.
Yeah.
Character like development, storyline, stuff like that.
Orange is the New Black is a little bit more raunchy than the show is, but
I have yet to watch Orange is the New Black. Everyone says it's really good. I'll probably start watching it.
It's pretty good.
So
it is pretty good. I don't know why the hell I just whispered.
I don't know why you did either.
But I mean, I think that's about all we got for you this week. I do have to bring up the winners of our shirts have still yet to respond to my messages. So Dietrich Burns or Floor, I don't know how to say your last name, Azucena. If you're listening to our podcast, get back with me on messaging. You can message us on Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, anywhere you can message us. Just let us know. We want to get those shirts out to you. You want them. Congratulations, and thank you for listening.
I guess we don't hear from them within a certain time frame, we might have to do the drawing again.
Yeah, we'll just redo the drawing, and maybe somebody else will be a winner. So Let's say we give them 2 weeks.
Okay, we'll give you 2 weeks. Please get back to us. It's just our anniversary shirt, so you guys want it, and let us know.
Yeah. And make sure to follow us on our website, mikeandchrisreloaded.libsyn. That's LIBSYN.com. Rate us on iTunes and Stitcher. Appreciate that. We definitely need reviews on iTunes and Stitcher to push us up in the search rankings. And you can always talk with us and communicate with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. What else? My Tumblr. I think that's it. Or email.
Google.
Google Plus. Oh yeah, I forgot Google Plus.
Google Plus. And we've got our phone lines working.
We do have our phone line. Before you leave today, we're gonna test your phone real quick. It takes like 30 seconds to get running.
Okay.
I want to see if your phone works.
Okay, that sounds good. We're going to test that out, and then pretty soon we'll be able to get some people across the country or wherever to call us in and be on the show with us.
Yeah, and like always, if you have a podcast idea or something you want us to do, messages. If we pick it, we'll offer you a guest spot, most likely on the show. I mean, if we want your idea, we'll bring you in on it.
Definitely, and like I said, with the phone system working now, if you're not able to be with us here, you can be with us at least via phone.
That's right. So I appreciate it, and I'm out.
And I'm done too.